What is up, guys? Pixels to Life here, and we are on episode 8 of Ctrl+Z, or Command-Z if you're on the Mac. Uh, and we've got with us today the usual suspects minus Rated, Evan and Josh, Ink by Art. It is worth noting, though, it is his first installment as a regular host on the show. So we're glad to welcome him.
Is this officially the official?
Well, technically, the episode that went up today would be his first, but we hadn't announced him whenever we recorded that, so I figured we'd just mention it this time through.
Oh, gotcha. Yep.
I'm still waiting for my check, but I mean, I guess that's still in the mail, so we'll just keep going for now.
Yeah, that's definitely, it's on its way, but, you know, to get to Australia, it takes a while.
Work with the trust system for now. That's fine.
So, guys, real quick before we jump into it, I just wanted to mention our sponsors for the show, which is G Fuel or Gamma Gamers. Really great product if you're a gamer or even a designer, to just give you that extra boost for that design binge, and so we appreciate them. We appreciate them sponsoring the show. So, guys, I think the first topic that we're going to go over is sort of the obvious topic, because you can't really get on Twitter or into your email without seeing mention of it, and that's the new, or we suspect at least, the new GIF banners that are the new GIF format, I should say, that's available for YouTube. So just real quick, I'd like to get your guys' thoughts on that.
You go first, Evan.
Well, the jury's still out on whether or not, because the GIF was always, as far as I remember, it was always a file type animated at the time. I don't know, maybe someone just now stumbled upon it, and it's just starting to make its way around as those type of things do. But yeah, as far as the creation of them for channels, it can turn into a designer migraine pretty quick.
Yeah.
I was playing around with it this morning on the Syndicate Projects channel, just trying to do something subtle, and it is pretty it's just animated GIF, but you are limited to your number count, your color count, and it's really easy to bloat out the file and have something way too big to upload. So even though you can do it, I don't know if I would completely advise it, but you can find some subtle animation that would work and it doesn't kill the overall look of the banner, then it might be fun, you know. But it really depends on what you want to, what you're trying to animate. So
yeah, this is true.
It could turn into a big mess fast. people wanting essentially full videos rendered in their banner. It's like, no, that's not possible.
yeah, you can't really have like an intro as your banner.
Yeah, like there's a reason why GIFs sort of died off in the late 90s, I think it was, as a file type, and you know that it. Like a lot of the stuff that I do as well, as like if I was limited to 256 colors, I would be out of a job very, very quickly. So for these people that either have these banners, and then like I've had a few people say, oh, let's make them GIFs, or can we do that? I mean, generally I'll just entertain it and I'll just say yep, and I'll just continue on with what I'm doing, and then when it gets time to sort of animate, I say, okay, well, let me just first show you what it looks like as a GIF.
Yeah.
And I mean, unless you want to make like a monochrome banner or something, like knock the colors right down. I mean, I mean, I said this in the sort of the lost episode, I guess, but I'm sort of hoping there's like 3D in the 90s, which it sort of just died off. It sort of became a thing, and everyone was into it. And I know 3D's sort of come back now, and I'm just sort of hoping that it will die off somewhat the same because I can't stand 3D movies. But yeah, I mean, we'll see. We'll see how long it hangs around for. I think it might just be something that everyone just jumps on, like because it's a big thing, and then now people will sort of exhaust all the options relatively quickly, and then realize the limitations. Now, if it was sort of like breakthrough like HTML5 or something like that, HTML5 video or something, I mean, then we're sort of talking new stuff. But I think it is a matter of it's always been there, and just people have used common sense and been like, well, I mean, no, like I'm not going to do it. And now someone has done it, and it'll work in some instances, and like the very subtle use of it. I like what as you said, Evan, what you did with the syndicate thing, but again, that banner's mostly yellow on black, so the color limitations doesn't really come in. I think once you start looking at full color banners, and you'll see, like with the Captain Sparkles one, it's sort of it's very the colors are very limited.
Yeah.
So
Well,
and
the
the
whole background
animation's
is solid color, right?
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I mean, I'm guessing that's why like the that's what you'll start to see. I think if people start moving to the animated route now. The question I do have, Evan, is did you use Photoshop to do the GIF? Is that what everyone's using still for animated GIFs, I
Well,
guess?
considering it's been the last time I made a GIF was probably the late '90s. It was I just went into Photoshop and used the timeline thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And tried to remember my After Effects training. Um, so yeah, it wasn't too bad. The only thing I ran into, and people are already asking for tutorials on this, is and the trick I didn't know is in After Effects you can scale you can scale objects and transform them and things like that. If you just jump into Photoshop and you open the timeline, you can't scale anything. All you can trigger on a layer is the opacity and the position. So I was scratching my head trying to figure out why, and then it turns out you have to turn everything into smart objects. Once you turn everything into smart objects, the position changes to transform, and then you can do whatever you want to it.
Yeah, that makes sense though.
Yeah, but this morning I was like, why? Why can't I just? I can move it. Why can't I scale it?
I think really the key that we want to get across is just keep it simple. A text sheen here or like a little ball of electricity traveling along a wire or something. Just keep it real, just simple, real neat. There's no need to get real crazy. I mean, one, you're not going to be able to do that effectively with the file size and your the limited colors that are offered with GIFs. So just keep it simple, keep it classy, I'd say.
Yeah, yeah. It's the same. It's the same thing that Flash turned into. Flash used to be. Um, it was like whatever you. It doesn't matter. You can do it in Flash, and it was like usually not a good idea. So,
Don't you talk bad about my Flash.
well, when you're doing gigantic full websites in Flash, and I don't even know, can Google finally read into Flash files?
I
couldn't, so I don't know.
highly doubt it.
It wasn't searchable.
Well, the workaround now is that most people use HTML5 to do a lot of that motion type stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, everything's called jQuery now. Yeah, it's incredible what you can do with JavaScript.
Yeah. Yep. So last night we actually attempted to record this episode that we're doing right now. We ran into some major technical difficulties, and my computer basically shut down in the middle of the recording. So it is my first week producing the show, whereas Evan typically does it. But he's going to be traveling a lot shortly, so we're going to be we're trying to transition into having me do the production, and it failed miserably last night. But the reason why I brought that up is because Evan was actually playing with a new toy that he got.
Oh yeah.
Speaking of the travels.
And I got it working. I picked up a Wacom Companion, the regular version, which has Windows 8 on it, and that's really the only issue I've got with it, is that it's got Windows 8 on it. So it's made it all has been working, and I haven't got a much of a chance to really sit down and really draw, but from a couple hours last night, yeah, I love the thing. It's been pretty cool. So hopefully I'm gonna use it more of a digital sketchbook wherever I go.
Yeah.
And keep that with me.
Yeah, I really want to see if you can get to the point where you can do finished artwork on it, because that's the issue that I had with the Surface. Like, for sketching, no problem at all, and it was actually a really great tool to do it, but I just knew that there was no way that I could produce finished artwork on it. And I'm not sure if your intention is to do that, or whether it is just for sketching and ideas and concepting and stuff like that.
You
Well,
want to?
that's the goal. So far, it feels like I can. And by feels, you know that, like when you use like your regular setup, and you know, like you can do it all on it. It feels like I should be able to. I just haven't sat down to
give it a go. Yeah. All right, cool. That's the thing with the Surface as well, is that it has a really smooth surface, where I think, and you'll have to tell me if it's true, but the Companion's surface is more like our Cintiq's, or?
Yeah, it's textured.
Textured, yeah, okay.
It feels like you have resistance on it, which I never realized how much of a what's the word? How much that mattered to have that kind of texture. It's crazy when you draw on glass, a more glass smooth surface. It doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
Well, I assume that's probably the purpose of giving it texture, is to have it feel more like a canvas than a computer screen.
Yeah, well, that's like the Intuos, the sort of no screen tablet that I recommend to a lot of people that are asking for tablet advice. That always had like a little textured surface on it as well, and it made a big deal.
Yeah, my Intuos has a little texture on it. Nice.
Yeah.
I was gonna say those things do, don't they? The Intuos and the like bamboos and stuff. They still have like a texture on them.
I remember the original tablet that I got was called a Graphite. They don't even sell them anymore. That's how old I am.
I had one of those. What color did you have?
I had white, represented the white. And remember, it had like the little glass screen, and you could pull it off and slide a photo. The intention was to put a photo underneath, and you put the glass on top, and then you could apparently draw over the photo.
Wow.
Yeah. But yeah, that was a glass screen as well, and that was tricky.
They treated it almost more like a light box than they did.
Yeah. I think that's when they were still experimenting with it, and we had to think it was like 256 pressure levels or something like that. So, like the pressure variation that you'd get in the line was, none. So it was, and then I remember I moved to the Intuos, and it was like 1024. And I thought it just blew my mind. And I think the Cintiq's like 2000 and something. So, yeah. Oh,
it's like the GIF of tablets, huh?
Yeah, basically. When I first started, like everyone was asking what tablet I should start with and stuff like that, and I was like, oh, I use the Graphite or whatever, and then I would be getting replies and like, what is this Graphite like? I don't know where I can't find it anywhere. It's not even on the Wacom site. And I was like, oh. I had to look it up, and I was like, okay, well, they don't do it anymore.
Yeah.
So while we're on the topic of tablets, I know that you guys get the question, what do you use a lot, or what kind of equipment do you use a lot and stuff like that. But the question that I want to ask is, in regard to tablets and softwares that you use, why did you choose what you're currently using? Are you guys using the same tablet? I can't remember.
I think so.
I think we are, yeah.
Yeah.
You're on the 22, are you, Evan? Or?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we are. Oh, we're eerily similar in a lot of things we do. We use the same software as well, and it's software that a lot of people don't use. So, well, a lot of people are starting to now.
Yeah, actually, I'm glad you mentioned that. If you guys are gonna get into drawing or illustration, or digitally, anyways, Manga Studio is a great software, or at least I hear. I just bought it last night, but the reason why we're talking about it is because they're actually doing a really good sale on it on Amazon right now. You can get it for what we get it for, Evan, $30.
$30 even. So that was pretty dirt cheap.
That's amazing for a software. I mean, you think about Photoshop and Illustrator and those other kind of programs. Hundreds of dollars each. That's a steal for a software like for the program that it is. It's a steal of a deal. So I suggest picking that up.
Yeah, I think that was one of the big selling points when I first started using it. That I was telling other people, like, it's only $30. Well, I think I bought it at full price, which set me back $50. So I mean,
I was gonna say
even at full price, it's ridiculously cheap. So it's like $50 or $60 or something like that. So
that was the only other issue I ran it. The only other issue. No, the other thing was Manga Studio specifically. I only had a CD-ROM of it because they only offer hard copies. I guess people have said that there was digital copies. Josh, you got a digital version, right?
yeah, I bought it I bought it way back in the heyday when it first came out, and I can't remember who was using it. Someone recommended it to me. I think it may have been Creature Box, or it might have been it was one of those guys, I think. And I heard that they were using it, they were trying it, and when I went to get it, they had I mean, that was how they distributed it. It was all sort of digital.
Right.
And so I started using it, and I started recommending it to people. And then after a while, because Smith's Micro, who makes it, they're the producers. But I heard, because I was talking to some of the guys there, because they were using a lot of my stuff, I think, for like promotion and stuff like that when they were trying to get a little bit of traction with it, I think. And and then they were saying, I heard that the guy who developed it decided to pull the digital copies and only do shipped. And I was trying to work out why, and I thought, like, maybe for piracy reasons or something. But it doesn't matter. Like, if it's pirated, it's already out there, So like pulling it wouldn't really make any difference. So
yeah,
I've got no idea why they pulled it, why he wanted to pull it, but I think it definitely hurt sales. Like, I know people that are like, oh, yeah, I'll go buy it. Oh, you can only get a ship copy. All right, well, I want it now. So, because I mean, kids these days are pretty impatient. So,
yeah.
They may have turned to unsavory means of obtaining it.
Well, I'm kind of old school. I kind of like the hard copy.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't have bothered me. I would have waited for it for sure.
I bet piracy was a reason. These days, I bet another reason is simply just to get rid of the hard copies.
Yeah, it's true.
Well, there you go. I never thought of that. Yeah, that might have been it. They want a warehouse full of them.
Yeah.
Manga Studio 6 may have digital versions. They're just trying to get rid of the old copies.
Yeah. But
Good Lord.
it does make installing from disk onto a tablet, and the companion is probably just one of many where you might run into that. I had to figure out how to install over a network 101 last night. So I know how to do that now. How to share CD drives from computer to computer.
Did you guys just notice? Did you guys just notice the insane light change that just happened?
Yeah. You're in a cave now.
A storm just rolled up like crazy. Anyways, you guys continue talking about that. I'm gonna flip the light on in here since it's so dark.
Well, I was going to say that because my Mac doesn't have a CD drive. So even if I wanted to install it on my Mac, like my main computer, I wouldn't have been able to. So, which is funny.
Okay, well, what Mac do you have? I got
the iMac.
The iMac
2000. No, not the new ones. These are the real skinny ones. It's about like that wide. Like they're ridiculously thin.
Oh.
Um, and like it's still a real grunty system. Like it's got 30 gig of RAM or something like that. i7. Like they pack everything into it, but it doesn't have CD. I mean, if you came to me sort of 5 years ago, you probably 5 years ago, said CDs, computers are going to start shipping without CD drives. I mean, that's crazy. But it's happening.
That is crazy.
And then they can charge you an extra $120 for an external CD drive, which plugs in via USB if you want it. So,
all right, guys, we're back, and just quickly, I wanted to mention before we jump back into it, Ctrl+Z does have an official YouTube channel. If you guys are not familiar, it is Ctrl+Z Cast. So definitely check that out. And what we really like to see from you guys is questions that you want to see answered on the show. We don't really schedule a lot of the topics or plan it out that much. So the questions help with awkward transitions and things like that, basically. So if you guys have any questions to answer, we would love to hear from you guys and get you guys involved in the show, because ultimately, we're doing the show for you guys. So getting some suggestions from you guys would be amazing. Or you can also contact us on the Twitter, which is at Ctrl+Z Show, and ask us questions on there as well. So we're talking about tablets and equipment that we use and things like that, and why we decided to use what we're using, and then we kind of got off on a rant about Manga Studio and things like that. But what makes the tablet that you guys have, what makes it the one that you guys ultimately landed on?
You go first, Josh.
all right. Well, I guess for me, like it has to be a Cintiq for me. So I mean, everything that I do at the moment, this is the one thing I tell people, is that I could do on my Intuos. I was still producing work at a suitable level. You know, the work may be professional, but my attitude may not be. But it's I'm sort of the work was at a high enough level for what I was doing, but the Cintiq just basically makes everything faster. I need to undo a lot less. My line work goes a lot faster because I see where I'm laying things down and stuff like that. So, and because I do it every single day, 12, 13, 14 hours a day, because this is what I do full time. Like it was just a no brainer. That's sort of where I had to be in terms of equipment. So once you sort of decide on the Cintiq, then I guess you've got a few different options. For me, the 13-inch was just felt like I was drawing on like a little postage stamp. It was too small, especially for a lot of the work that I do, which is really, really high resolution work. So that instantly rules that out, and then I guess I just had the 22 and the 24 to choose from at the time. I don't know what's out there now. I'm guessing it's probably something similar, or they've probably got something else out now. But I mean, that comes down to a few things. Price is obviously pretty different between the two. Like for an extra 2 inches, you pay like an extra $800, I think, or $1,000. But for me, it was just desk size. I mean, the 24 is absolutely huge. Like you think that it's only an extra 2 inches, but the stand is really different. And it's actually really, really big. So definitely make sure you if you are looking at getting one of those, to see if you can check out one in store, because I know a mate of mine, a guy who's sort of my flat color artist at times, where I sort of just throw him files and he flats them up for me to save some time. He went and got a 24-inch, and yeah, he had to end up going and getting a new desk as well. So
yeah, desk space is obviously an issue.
it is ridiculous how big the 24-inch tablet is. So, but I mean, I got no issues at all with the 22, and I like the stand as well. But yeah, I mean, the reason why I got it, I guess, is because I am doing this every single day, time is money, I guess, when you're freelancing. As tight ass as that sounds, I guess, but if I can do my work, faster, then it's better. It sort of pays for itself relatively quickly, although it is a relatively high investment to start with, I guess.
Have you guys used like the bamboo or the Intuos?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I rolled with. Yeah, I rolled with an Intuos for 5 years or something like that. So Intuos is great. I loved it. I had two of them actually, and then once I got this, and I was sort of got into I stopped traveling a lot because I was doing a lot of workshops and stuff like that. So the Intuos was great because I could take it with me,
Yeah.
and so to do demos and stuff like that. But I sort of stopped that side of things. And once I did that, I sort of, it just sort of sat there, and I actually, I shipped it off to a fan, who had been, who helps me out a lot, especially during streams. She sort of does a lot of like the moderation and stuff like that, and it just helps keep things in check there. And she's always doing these drawings, and she was drawing them with a mouse. So I guess I was seeing him, and I'm like, "You doing that with a mouse?" And I was like, "Holy smokes!" So I just sort of shipped
Hmm.
that off to her and gave her a little bit of a surprise. But I definitely rolled with that for a very long period of time.
Yeah, I've tried to use a bamboo. If probably I think I've mentioned it on live streams and videos that the whole reason why I got to use a Cintiq is because I can't use anything without a screen. I don't have the coordination to do it. So I've tried multiple times, tried forcing it, and it just never worked. So
So
um,
if you guys don't know what he's talking about, it's with those other tablets. They don't have actual screens in them. It's just a canvas, and you have to look at your monitor while you're drawing. So you're not looking at what you're drawing directly. You're not looking at what your hand's doing. You're looking at the screen, your monitor, instead of the actual canvas that you're drawing on.
yeah,
Whereas the Cintiq, you can actually just draw straight onto it.
yep, accuracy and speed. It's an increase in that. But as far as the size that I got, the 22, same thing. The 13, I was using that, and it felt after a while, it felt like you're trying to do high res art on a postcard. And that just wasn't working. And well, it was working, but it was just difficult. So I went with the bigger one. And then I didn't go with the 24 because uh, the like Josh said, the stand is humongous. It takes up your whole computer. So I guess the biggest difference between the 24 and the 22, if people are outside of price, is the 22. You can still use it as like a second monitor, right? So like I use mine as a second monitor. It goes off to the side when I don't when I just use it for like if I'm doing web dev or something. I'm usually got a browser on it and I'm uh, working on a site or something. The 24 is your main monitor because you can't really move it around. It sits on a stand that um, isn't very mobile. So
Oh,
you can kind of think about it that way. If you still want it as a secondary and you can kind of push it away when you don't use it, then a 22 is probably more what you want. If you don't mind using it as your main monitor more often than not, then and you have a desk that can hold it, then a 24 would be you can do those extra couple inches and do that thing.
I think one of the other things that's worth noting as well is I'm very, 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 very keyboard dependent because I know like everything that I want to do, I do with the keyboard in terms of shortcuts and all that sort of stuff. So with the 24, it really like if you get a chance, go out and see the difference in stands. Like the 22 is just like an up and down type thing that locks in. And so
Yeah,
you can draw upright or you can draw down. The 24 is it literally sort of pulls up and out, and you can have it like laying out here and stuff like that. But it's really difficult from what I saw to get a keyboard in there. So that would be there is a huge difference in sort of technology with the stand and stuff like that. But I mean, I use one of these as well, which is like a little Nostromo type. I don't know what it is. It says a Razer Tart Tartaros. It's a Tartarus. So,
the tartar sauce.
Tartar sauce.
I have no idea what it is, but it works. And that because I like to draw quite close, so I pull my Cintiq up really close, and then that just sits off to the side. Whereas if I have my keyboard in front of it, then I'm reaching over to get to the Cintiq. So and then my keyboard will sit on my lap because I can't obviously fit all the shortcuts on the little tartar sauce, but I can. Yeah, anything else that I need, I got the keyboard down here as well. So
We've just ruined our chances of getting Razer as a sponsor on the show.
Yeah, but now we're working on SpongeBob.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We go for the big guys.
Yeah. Sorry, Razer. It's really, really good product though. I recommend the Tartarus. This.
Tartarus?
Basically what it is, it's basically like the size of a number pad, but it's separate, and it's just like a programmable keyboard that you can use for shortcuts and things.
Yeah, a lot of people use them for when they're playing like games and stuff like that, like the League of Legends and stuff like that. Like I think, and like maybe World of Warcraft or something. I don't know. I've got to be honest. I've never played a game with it before, and that's because I very, very rarely get time to play games on my computer. But I can see how I got a mate who's got like 2 or 3 of them. There's like a couple of different versions, like a mechanical one and stuff like that, and he swears by them and.
It makes sense because you don't have the other keys getting in your way.
Yeah, it's just ergonomic and stuff like that, and yeah, I don't know. It just actually what I will do. Hang on, just to see if we can try and get Razer back on board. I'm just going to say a few little points about this. The Tartarus has 25 programmable membrane keys. It's got improved ergonomic form factor. It's Razer Synapse 2.0 enabled. I'm definitely not reading these off the site. all anti-ghosting, unlimited macro lengths, braided fiber cable. Do I need to say more?
Yeah, and it's just good. It's just good for mobility as well. If you're traveling a lot or whatever, it's a lot easier to pack up than full size keyboard.
Yeah, for sure.
I
love it.
Is there any
shortcuts though? It's definitely like I'm probably gonna pick one up to use with that companion and see if that's gonna make because I don't want to have to carry a big old keyboard around with me. When I'm at some place where I can sit for a while and use a keyboard. But maybe something smaller that I can map keys to would be pretty cool for that.
Plus, you start running into issues with chord management and things like that. Eventually, unplugging a keyboard over and over and over.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I mean, for line work, I don't need my keyboard at all. I've got everything. I have my brush eraser, my undo, and like some sort of music controls, changing brush size and stuff like that. For color, I use a little bit more of a range of tools, so I do kind of need to dip down to the keyboard every now and then. Could I fit all the shortcuts onto the Razer thing? Yeah, probably. But the thing is that it doesn't tell you you've got to remember your hand position and remember what you're bound to what. So, like right now, because I've only been using it for a few weeks, I'm like, okay, well, let's just start with a small amount of shortcuts, and then like I've still got like maybe 10 keys or so that I combined. So, as I get more used to it, and the muscle memory kicks in with that, then I might start binding a few more keys to it and stuff like that. So color, I still definitely need to use my keyboard, but line work, it's I don't even need to touch it, which is nice.
Yep. Is there any difference with the stylus? I know that all tablets come with the stylus, but is there any difference, or is it even possible to use a different stylus with a different tablet, or are those pretty much programmed specifically for the tablet?
Yeah, when I got mine, I tried to use my Intuos stylus on it, just I guess professional curiosity or something, but it didn't work. So
Hmm.
I actually had a guy tweet me the other day, on stylus stuff, and he's like, "Oh, just wondering how often you change your stylus, your nibs." And I was like, "Oh, you can change nibs." like I honestly, I've changed it maybe twice in a year or something like that, or a year and a half. Like very, very actually, it'll be 2 years soon. So I mean, maybe once a year, twice a year when I see it getting a bit scratchy or something like that. And he goes, and he said, "Oh, because I'm using." He said, "Well, what nibs are you using then? Because I'm using the Wacom ones, and they're only certified for 20 hours of drawing or something like that. Like that's how long they sort of certify them for or something."
Wow.
And I said, "Dude, if they were certified for 20 hours of drawing, I'd be changing them like twice, 3 times a week."
Yeah.
Like, yeah, yeah, no. Like, I mean, I don't know. I haven't had a problem with it, but I guess some people do or something like that. But I don't know. Evan, have you changed yours more often or something? Or
Oh yeah, yeah. But I'm like brutal on them. I'm like when I put pressure, I
it's pressure?
yeah, I'm gonna punch a hole through the whole thing. So I've noticed. Usually I just change them because they get annoying. They start making that scratchy noise, and
Yeah, well, that's when I do it when it goes a
yeah,
bit scratchy.
that gets pretty frustrating. Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I probably have changed it at least twice as many times as you have, but
But not
um,
every 20 hours.
how many do I have? Yeah, no, no. Well, I don't know. How many do I have left in here? I think you know what? I got some replacements. That's what I did. And there's two types. Have you used these white ones? And there's one with
Uh,
like a spring on it, and I don't know how that works.
Let me have a look here. That's how many I've used. So I think even when I replaced them, I put them back. But like none,
You put it
actually
back?
none of these I've used. Yeah, I have seen the white ones. I haven't used them. On my Intuos, there was like a springy type one as well. It doesn't look like there's one of those in here. So I don't know. Maybe I should. Do you use the white ones? Do you or
No, I haven't tried them yet.
no? Neither have I. There you go. So
Yeah. Sorry,
better for
we're
you.
helpless.
I think in regards to tablets and um, things like that, it all just comes down to personal preference. If you can draw while looking at the monitor and not looking at your hand, you could probably save a few bucks by going with the
Save a lot of
Intuos.
bucks.
Yeah, yeah, a lot of bucks. So if you can do that, then more power to you. And if you can't, there are other options available. But it all just comes down to feel. If you can get lucky and find a place where you could try a couple of them out, I would suggest that.
Yeah. Like definitely I mean there's no way around it. Like the Cintiq is definitely more pick up and go. So you buy it and then you feel like you can adjust relatively quickly.
Yeah.
Whereas the ones without the screen, you definitely are. I mean, it's a learning curve. You're right because you're used to looking down at your paper and drawing, and you suddenly can't do that. You got to look up the screen and stuff like that. And I certainly didn't pick it up and just was awesome at it. Like I've told stories where I've thrown it across the room. It's just been so frustrating and stuff like that. Like it really takes a lot of practice. And even now, like if I went back to it, it would certainly take me a little bit to get the hand-eye coordination back. But yeah, definitely don't pick one up and think that you're going to be, it's going to be like all natural straight away.
And you think it's such like a small thing, right? Like you don't even realize that you're really that focused on looking at what you're drawing. Like you're you're kind of looking at your hand while you're drawing, right? Not what you're actually drawing. So whenever you switch that
Yeah,
up and you're looking at a screen instead, it really does mess with your brain.
Hmm.
yeah, it's incredible. Like the difference, how unnatural it feels.
It's almost like you're trying to learn to write opposite-handed.
Yeah,
You kind of feel sort of
yeah,
crossed up like that.
It's like you're trying to
yeah.
learn how to write while staring at the ceiling. That's how I feel. I feel like I probably draw better with my feet than I would using that pen.
um, have either of you guys tried to use like an iPad or something more mobile? I assume it's probably pretty rudimentary.
You
The
like,
capabilities.
Yeah, I mean, I can go on for a little bit about this. So, Evan, you go first.
No, I tried that other. I've tried other apps and that Wacom pen, and nah, it literally feels like you're trying to paint with like a
Sausage.
yeah, sausage and some random tempera paint. It's like there's just
Yeah.
no.
They have a
yeah.
specific is it called Adobe Draw or something like that?
Oh, there's a ton of them.
It's like made for the mobile. It's like a mobile drawing program.
No, I think the big one is Procreate. That's the sort of go-to I think that most people are using. But yeah, I mean, I went through a little bit of like a midlife crisis in terms of mobile drawing platforms and stuff like that. Like I literally just went around and treated it like a buffet and sampled everything. I went through the Surface. I went through the iPad. Then I tried a different iPad. I tried different pens for the iPad. I tried like the $100 Intuos pen thing that you can get, which is supposed to be it gives you pressure levels on the iPad, and but the thing that I found is because I work from home and I work in my studio, and I'm drawing for 8, 10, 12 hours a day. When I finish at work, I don't really want to draw. So what I'm doing is I'm looking for a mobile platform to draw on. And what I found is that I had all these mobile platforms, these devices and stuff like that. And I'm sitting here and I'm using them. And then I'm looking up and I'm like, the Cintiq is right here. Like what? Like all of these are doing things okay, but you're not doing it as good as this thing right here. So why don't I just go back here and start drawing? I'm like, why am I trying to draw on this when I got like a Cintiq right there? And I mean, none of them felt natural. None of them felt right. I mean, and I said like with the Surface was about as close as I got to being happy with something, but at the same time, the Surface was too glassy, and it's just like it just I couldn't. I felt like I couldn't do finished artwork on it, and so like the thought was, oh well, I sit out on the couch or something with the kids and do some work, but like I don't know. I don't. When I finish work, I don't want to do more work. So if that makes sense.
Yeah. Are any of them viable options for like a sketchbook? Obviously, you're not going to get finished art on them.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like the companion, I think that may be the one that you might be able to, and so that's why I'm keen to see how Evan goes on that. But as a sketchbook, absolutely. If I was still working full time and had that 2 hour sort of train ride, every day, I would probably. I think it's like the Intuos. You got to get used to it and get used to the workflow and because I'm so used to using keyboard shortcuts, now I got to remember where everything is in the menu if you're using a tablet. I think I would definitely probably be back on one of those because I could sit on the train and sketch or do something. So I'm actually doing work while I don't have an option, sort of thing, where I was traveling. But for being in the studio, like I couldn't think of a reason to justify the cost, because a companion, you're looking at the price of a Cintiq almost.
It's probably different if you've never used a tablet. Like say you've never used a Cintiq or just any tablet in general, and the first thing you picked up is one of those pens and an iPad and one of the apps. You could probably do some pretty cool stuff, but when you're going backwards, like Josh and I are, it feels like you just got done racing a Ferrari and then you're thrown into a hatchback to do the same thing. It's like it's like, here you go, same thing, right? Like, no.
So probably.
Yeah, like you can get from point A to point B, but you're gonna get there a lot slower.
Yeah.
Yep.
it's going to be a less enjoyable ride.
Is it a pressures sort of thing, or is it a texture of the screen, or?
Uh, for me, it was because the pressure levels are there. I mean, they've got that figured out. They know that the pressure levels are there.
Mm-hmm.
But it's probably a software thing because I can't use Manga Studio. It's a palm rejection thing. That's the big thing for me as well. Like, I'm trying to draw, and then there's like these lines drawing underneath my palm.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what are you doing? Because I rest my hand when I draw, and I see these people that are using these things because I watched 100 or so YouTube videos, and they had their had their hand hovering up, or they use. I bought something upon the recommendation of someone. It's like these little screen cleaners. And you like slide that, because even my glove doesn't remove my palm, and like you're supposed to sort of slide that like that and then draw like that, and I'm like, what am I doing? So
What, you don't like drawing like you're holding chopsticks?
Yeah. Oh man, it just so.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. I didn't think about it registering your hand on the screen.
Yeah, the palm. That's right. The palm rejection is a big thing, especially for me because I've been drawing for so long and I got this particular style. Now I've got to try and beat that style out of me, and I'm just like, this isn't for me. But yeah, definitely, if you've got an iPad, then picking up the $100 Intuos pen might be the way to go. That does give you pressure levels. What's that, sir?
If you've never tried anything else before.
Yeah, but also that's right, because the nib is like a fat little sausage. It's like a spongy little thing.
It's like a push button, like it's weird looking.
Yeah, it's weird.
But a nip.
So bottom line, if you're not a Cintiq snob like my fellow co-host, you could probably swing it.
Bottom line is we've now lost Wacom as a sponsor. We've now lost
Anyways. We can't get Apple. We can't get... We're burning bridges, folks. Burning bridges.
Yeah.
So, something that I get a lot of requests for, and it's sort of difficult for me. We've touched on it previously, but I get a lot of requests to do live streams of my art. How do you guys feel about? I know Josh, you do a lot of those, and Evan, you've done them here and there. How do you guys feel about designing or drawing live?
It's tough for me personally because it's when growing up I could never. I had a hard time doing anything with somebody looking over my shoulder. So, and it still feels like that, and it's hard to draw on the spot like that. I've never been very good at it. I notice when I draw things on a live stream, they don't come out as well as they do if I'm just doing it and listening to music and just off in my own world. I don't think it has to do with the other big thing is you feel like you're having to entertain at the same time. So trying to multitask what, questions being thrown at you and stuff, and still trying to keep a focus on what you're doing. Josh does a really good job at it. I don't know how he does it, but I have a hard time with it. And then plus it's whatever I'm working on. If it's something that I know I can probably make it look somewhat decent while trying to field questions and comments and stuff, then I'll do it. But like some of the other art that I do that really takes a lot of focus and it'd probably be pretty boring to live stream is that stuff I don't usually do.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, one of the things that I always say first off as well is if you are just getting started with drawing, and you're just practicing and you're just learning and all this sort of stuff, and this sort of mainly targeted at YouTube because I see these people that are just like, hey, I just started drawing. Here's my speed art. Can you like it? If you just started drawing and you are getting better and you're practicing and stuff like that, switch off the camera. Do not record your work. I went for years without recording my work. And to this day, when I record my work, I still don't do as good a job. So, I mean, really you just got to switch off that camera, because it's like there's someone watching you or something like that. And I just say, just don't do it. And the same goes with live streaming. Like, if you're just getting started, don't live stream, because I think that it does add like a certain level of pressure that you may specifically not need, or it may make things more difficult to do, if that makes sense. But in terms of why I do it, and if I can do it, like, if I have like a budget of like an hour on a particular piece, if I'm going to stream it, I know it's going to take 2 or 3, and it will come out the same level, because I am stopping answering questions or doing tutorials and stuff like that. I mean, they're a great way to interact with your fans. And so that's one of the reasons why I did it. And also, when I first went freelance, when I was when I lost my job and decided to give this all a shot, it was really overwhelming, the support that people would give as well. Like, they enjoyed the show. I used to live stream every day, and people would donations were a great way of sort of getting me on my feet, I guess, in terms of, while I was still trying to establish clientele and all that other stuff. So it definitely has its place. It definitely is tricky.
Yeah.
I will never, yeah, I will never rough something up on stream. Like, if I'm going to stream, it'll all like, it'll already be roughed up. And in terms of whether I do line work or color, like, I don't, line working on stream, it isn't too bad, but I mean, it can be kind of boring. Whereas, like, the color is a little more entertaining, and I can teach people a few more things, because I can talk about color theory and stuff like that. I definitely find that I don't. It's hard to talk about things while you're drawing. So, like, answering questions is easy, but like trying to just talk about just random things, it can be a bit more difficult. So, and plus, you got to listen to music, which you may not usually listen to, because because my music is probably not stream suitable. But so yeah, I mean, there's pros and cons to it. I mean, what it comes down to, if you're just getting started with drawing, and switch off the camera, don't do speed outs on YouTube, don't do all this stuff. Like, don't stream, don't do any of that. Just draw, and just draw and draw and draw, and get better at it and better at it and better at it. Because as I said, when the camera's on, I work slower, and I definitely feel like I may make more mistakes here and there. And that's going to apply definitely when you're just getting started. So yeah, just try and switch off the cameras maybe, and just until you get a little bit more comfortable behind the tools, I think.
Yeah. So I think for me, the pros and cons of streaming while you're designing, um, the pro of it is you get a lot of work done, um, because you're sort of forcing yourself into just working without stopping, besides answering questions and stuff like that. You're probably not going to be browsing Twitter or YouTube or something like that if you're streaming, so it sort of keeps you on task in that regard. But for me, and also another good thing is, a lot of times, if you're just doing stuff for fun, um, the audience sort of gives you good material to work with. So I like it in that regard. But one thing that we all kind of sort of touched on is, it's sort of like having someone stand over your shoulder while you're trying to draw, and you feel like they're scrutinizing every pen stroke that you're making, and that's sort of nerve wracking. Um, but what we've discussed in the past is, I don't draw or do any work while I listen to music, so it's particularly difficult for me, because I have other distractions, and what I like to do whenever I'm doing art and stuff like that is really get into the zone, so that way I can sort of get on a roll. That's what I like whenever I'm first starting out. Like, whenever I first open up Photoshop or whatever I'm working in, I try to build it up where I'm getting on a roll. So I'll kind of start out slow, and then eventually I'll sort of get into that zone and start really banging out the artwork, and that's sort of difficult to do while you're on the live stream because you're having to stop to answer questions or change your playlist or whatnot. So those are the struggles that I find, but it is fun. It is fun, and I'll use it more for whenever I'm doing just stuff for fun as opposed to client based stuff.
Yeah, yeah. Definitely depends on the type of work as well. Like I got some work coming up which I definitely want to stream, because of just because of who it's for and stuff like that. So, if there's particular work which is interesting or people know the particular people you're working for, then it's good. But like a lot of the time, I'll be under NDAs as well, so I can't stream stuff. But like the time thing is just huge for me. Like if I can get something done in an hour off stream, or it'll take 3 hours on stream, like it comes back to the time and the money and stuff like that. Like unfortunately, that's the way that it goes. But I think one of the other things that I would say is if you do want to do stuff like that, like I definitely have like an awesome moderator who will answer a lot of the questions, like because you will get a lot. What tablet are you using? Can you draw me free artwork? And what program are you using? And you can put it everywhere. You can have it like over your face. You can have in the middle of the screen the answers to all those questions, and people will still ask them. So I'm very lucky. I've got some awesome sort of moderators there. One in particular, she knows who she is, but that just make the process a lot easier because I just don't even have to answer them, because even by the time that I see them, like it's already been answered. So they just have commands that they run. So that makes my job a lot easier as well.
I get a lot of groveling about the playlist as well. Some people will be like, "What is this song?" and either asking what the song is or to change the song, and I'm like, "Listen, I don't even listen to music while I design, so this is for you guys. I don't."
Yeah, sometimes that's hard for it's hard for me to keep a straight face on that type of stuff. Like little things like that. It's like, really, is that what you're here for?
I'm here for the music, Evan. Entertain me.
Yeah, leave then. Go turn on your radio.
Oh yeah, just put your own music on in the background and just turn off the stream. Like turn down the stream or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm very lucky. People seem to really like my music. I just play a radio station from Spotify. It's just a mix of sort of rock. I mean, most people are used to sort of dance, dubsteppy, hippity hoppity stuff. So I guess maybe mine's a little bit different. So
I have to eliminate all distractions when I'm designing to get in that zone, especially when I'm programming and stuff like that. Like, I don't know, it's just all distracting to me.
Way different. I don't know. It sounds like probably the same for you, but programming, I sometimes I have to just turn off the music altogether and just like something's not operating right, and have to figure out why and diagnose a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to have silence for that stuff. I do.
Yeah. I'd probably just end up being like, you know what, Beatles, I'm trying to do this. Can you please stop singing for a second? I'm trying to figure out why this isn't going where it should be going.
yeah.
Yeah, very much so.
But I agree with that. Yeah, absolutely.
Live streaming is fun from time to time. Again, it seems like a lot of the stuff I'm on that I end up working on. Same with Josh. I can't. It's stuff that's not announced or something, and even if there's not an NDA, one that's been signed or something, it's still very much like you have to treat it like that. So
yeah.
There's times when I'd love to stream something, but I just can't.
So. Yeah, you've got a lot of scenarios where you've got a client that wouldn't want you to be streaming what you're doing for them, simply for their reveal of the content or whatever. If you're doing a piece for a specific series or like a line of T-shirts or accessories or whatever that they don't want you to reveal on live stream. You know, they don't want you to reveal it. They want to reveal it, so that you run into that a lot.
Yeah.
I have some clients that will actually ask for the stuff to be streamed. So the opposite of that
That's
as well.
true, yeah.
So,
Well,
but then again, like, yeah, I was just gonna say, like, you know, a lot of the times I might say yes, but sometimes, you know, it's stuff that which isn't really suitable for streaming because of the just of the content. Like, it's not. I don't want to say that people's work is uninteresting, but it wouldn't be suitable for a stream because it might just be like little things here and there or something like that, you know. So it wouldn't make for good viewing, I guess.
What do you guys
still entertainment side?
What do you guys think in regards to sort of content for the platform? What do you guys prefer? Do you like speed arts? Do you like tutorials? Do you like just laid back drawing sessions? What do you guys like to do? And is it different between YouTube and live stream?
So I mean, so which do I prefer to watch, or which do I prefer to do?
Both ways, I'd say.
Okay. Well, I don't really get a lot of time to watch a lot of YouTube or even chill in a lot of streams. Like, that's my big thing. Like, you know, I've grown up, you know, working with something on like a show or like a hockey game or something like that. Like, when the hockey's on, I watch a lot of hockey while I'm working, but it sort of is just background noise. And so in terms of streams and stuff like that, if I turn one on, I really sort of am just sort of concentrating on my work. And very rarely when I finish work do I get a chance to just sit down and watch a stream. Like, I don't think I really ever experienced that. But so I guess in terms of what I can do, maybe the speed art, because I can fast forward it and see the end. You know, I get to see the entire thing, you know, in 4 or 5 minutes, which works a lot better for me. The beauty of streaming is I can just sit here and do the work, whereas with speed arts I got to record it, then I got to render it, then I got to edit it, then I got to add music, then I got to upload it. You know, so I guess there's pros and cons to both.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of my side of things, yeah.
Yeah,
but yeah, they both had their place.
Yeah, Josh is a real recluse. You know, we gotta yank him out of his zone to get him on the show. Even so, don't feel bad if he doesn't watch your YouTube video.
Yeah, I was just saying before, I need to really sort of scrub up on sort of, you know, everything, like all the sort of community stuff, and you know, because there's plenty of good designers and stuff out there. I don't get a chance to see them because they're just so busy. So
what do you think, Evan?
Well, I mean, live streaming is definitely, they both got their pros and cons. Live streaming, I guess, I would consider a little bit easier, because you don't have to go looking for music. You don't have to do all the post production stuff and you know the time consuming stuff when editing down videos. But there's still, for me, it's still you're doing something on the spot, and just the you know, for me, I gotta take out chunks of time and make sure that there's no distractions while I'm doing it, so I can just, you know, focus and just do the live stream. Unlike when I'm just recording something, you know, I can pause it whenever I want. So that makes things a little bit different. I don't know. I mean, then there's the money side of it. You know, I can't monetize anything live stream. So if I'm trying to make some cash, then the only way for myself to make money off live streaming would just be like donations and stuff. it depends. I treat both of them as just promotional tools because neither make any sort of substantial income or anything. So just it's just so I can connect with people,
Yeah.
and promote a little
Yeah,
bit.
like I definitely couldn't go back to streaming every day. It just wouldn't be um it's just not that lucrative. Like, I mean, I could sort of get 3 times the amount of work done in a day than I could if I was streaming. Which it sucks to say that. And sometimes I sort of wish that it was. If I didn't have a family, it'd be all right because I could do my work during the day and then maybe just do a stream at night, something like that. It's a different kettle of fish then. So
Yeah.
it depends on your family situation as well, I guess. So you know, you gotta spend time there as well. You gotta balance it.
Yep. Yep. There's definitely a work-life balance that you have to sort of maintain, because if you don't, obviously your work's going to suffer, or your personal life's going to suffer, um, and nobody wants to. You don't want to give up either one of those things. So you got to find that balance. And live streams, they're sort of tough because the times that it'd be worth live streaming are going to essentially be the times that are going to be best to spend with your family or friends in real life. So
Yeah, honestly, the last time I live streamed too, I really don't run into this problem, but I got a bunch of just like hatred coming into the comments all of a sudden. I don't know what prompted it or where, but
into the YouTube comments or like into the stream.
no, while I was live streaming. So
Oh, that was me. Sorry.
probably, yeah. No.
I just created like 10 dummy accounts just to flame you and
Yeah.
But that stuff, yeah, that stuff makes me, it's like, thanks, just ruin the whole thing for everybody because then I'm out. I don't. It's like because I don't. I would love to talk to people and see how they're going and stuff, but if that's not. I'm not making an income off of it, so if I don't want to deal with it, then I'm just going to turn it off. I don't care.
Yeah.
So yeah, that type of stuff. I mean, I left it running, but I was kind of like, where is this coming from?
like you never knew you had
Yeah.
secret haters out there.
Yeah, people need to. Yeah.
Lighten up a bit. Yeah, I sort of. It's very rarely that I sort of run into too many issues with that, but yeah, there has been sort of certain circumstances, I guess. So it's plus also like it's like yesterday I streamed and I sort of had to wrap it up pretty quickly because I had something sort of take my attention on whether it be a Skype or a tweet. I usually try not to look at it, but I did yesterday, and it's sort of a particular situation sort of it riles you up, or something that just sort of puts you in because you've always got to be on if you're streaming.
Yeah.
If you're just sitting there like a mopey, then no one's really going to watch it. So once something sort of I did catch a glimpse of something on Skype, and then like it just had to deal with that. So
Yeah.
it sort of takes you out of the zone a bit.
Yeah, and that's sort of the vulnerability of live streaming too, because whenever you put something up on YouTube, if it's a speed art, you sort of don't see the mistakes and things that the trial and error that you go through in a speed art. I mean, it's there, but it's going so quickly, no one can really pick up on it. Everyone's just basically waiting to get to the end to see the final product, anyways. Whereas the live stream, you've got those little vulnerabilities and that trial and error sort of stuff that shows through, and people like to scrutinize that because they're used to seeing your final polished artwork, and you're sort of going through your process on the live stream, and they're like, why do you do it like this? Why do you do it like that? And you should do it like this, and you should do it like that. And it's like, this, it's my process. And sometimes, I hate to admit it, but sometimes I'll just kind of go off on little tangents of just trying random things, and maybe one out of every five things that I try just sort of works. I just kind of stumble upon it. Just trying random things, I'll just stumble upon something that works with the piece, and it kind of feels like you kind of feel ridiculous doing that on a live stream, just trying 5 or 6 different things before you land on something that actually works.
Yeah, yeah, that's why I definitely don't concept on stream. Like, if I'm going to be concept, like, all that stuff is locked down beforehand for sure. And that's the reason why I don't record a lot of it as well. Because that's a lot of the back and forward with the client as well. What about this? I'll change this, tweak this, change that until we nail down a concept. Then I'm sort of good to go. So
Yeah.
In regards to clients, I know that we touched a lot on our process in real recent episodes. Where do you guys fall in regards to to revisions? Do you guys put a limit on it, or do you just sort of say we'll do this until you're happy, or where do you sort of draw the line with somebody when they're being a little difficult?
Well, if they're being difficult, that's a different story.
I mean, yeah, I guess difficult is sort of the wrong terminology. Where you can't seem to nail them down to a specific path. You could do concepts and sketches and stuff like that, but ultimately you've got to sort of guide them down a path. So how do you deal with a client that you can't seem to wrangle?
Well, the very harsh scenarios is that you have to. I mean, you do certain amount of revisions depending on what you agreed to, or I guess the overall. Um, then you get down to, uh, okay, yeah, we can do another revision, but it's going to cost you X amount of dollars. You've run out of your allotted revisions, and now we're into new project land. So. um, it depends on the client. Sometimes it can be really tricky. Other times it can be um, pretty straightforward. I don't know. It just kind of depends.
yeah, again, I'm very lucky. Like, you guys who do a lot of sort of design work and stuff like that, it's a bit different. But I'm sort of pretty lucky with the way that the drawing stuff works. Once I've locked down a rough and they've signed off on the concept, once I do line work, there's not a lot that they can actually request to change. So I don't really have to do, like, a lot of the time might be just, oh, can you just tweak this expression? Like, I don't like that face. Or maybe just add like a little extra glove in, like, a little bit of glove detail or boot detail or something like that. And so, like, a lot of the time it's pretty smooth, because they know that they can't go back to the previous stage. They can't go back to the concept and change that. So as long as my line work follows that concept, I'm usually pretty set. And then color is usually just any discrepancies. That, oh, I thought his shirt was going to be purple or something like that. And then a lot of the time I can just sort of magic wand it out and hue saturation where possible, or just a quick recolor.
I am kind of surprised actually by that, because with the Minecraft art, there's obviously there's a lot of detail work that goes into that. I'm kind of surprised that you don't get a lot of kickback on, can you make that sword glow a little bit more, or can you add some little details here and there? Like, for such a simple game, there's a lot of detail that goes into that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm genuinely surprised as well. I don't know why my process has been so smooth for so long, and touch wood, hopefully it continues. Um, it is the one thing that I don't like. I think in recent times, I can think of maybe one or two, like, maybe just recently where sort of done something and they're like, oh, no, I want a little bit more like this, 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 and then, but at that stage, I'm literally throwing down 5-minute sketches, so it's not even clean, but I can simulate line work which looks relatively clean, and then the client, sort of the client can think that it's a little bit more polished than what it is, and I can go over the top of it, sort of thing. So I just make sure that if things aren't locked down, then I really am just throw it like it is, just literally 2 to 5 minute sketches. Because I mean, when you're freelancing, there's a budget set on a job. If you burn your entire budget in concepting, then that's not cool.
Yeah. If are you doing sketches like in your sketchbook and then scanning them in and sending them to your client, or are you doing rough sketches on the Cintiq, or?
No, I do everything on the Cintiq now. It's I can't draw in real life, and it sucks. It's something that I need to practice a lot more. My traditional work is foul. It is terrible. It really is. Like I get better at it every time I do it, and I mean that's the thing as well. Like if I look back at the very first sort of Minecraft piece that I did, like I put it on Twitter the other day, and I was like, holy smokes, it's just like uh, the sort of the amount of improvement you can make by doing it more and more and more. Like it's a testament to that, like a testament to that practice. Makes perfect. Well, not perfect, but practice will make you improve. And so for the traditional work, I really need to get back and start doing some more already, especially because I think this year, like, I really want to hit the convention scene again. Like, I really enjoy doing that, and that was a huge part of the reason why I am where I am today. So, meeting up with fans again and signing posters and stuff like that was always a lot of fun. It's exhausting. It's a big 2 days because you're just sitting there just signing and stuff like that and meeting people, and at the end of it you just feel like you need a vacation or something. But it's a lot of fun, and I want to get back to doing that, and part of that is doing convention sketches and stuff. So I need to start practicing. And actually I was talking to my wife about it last night, and I said, I got to at least try and get something out, maybe 1 or 2 things a week. So just to try and get back onto it, and pick up some more Copic markers and just get back at it again. So when I get back there again, maybe I will start sketching on paper again. But for now, it's heaps easier just to bang on the screen, and then I can just draw over the top of it. Screenshot it, send it, and then I go over the top of it.
Mm-hmm. Evan, you like to do a lot of the on paper drawing and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, not as detailed as I used to do, because I'll do a lot more on the tablet. But the like the initial sketches, I do a sketch pretty much for everything. So I'll still do kind of just like a real quick pencil sketch. Now I usually don't scan it anymore, but I'll at least know where I'm gonna go with it. I'll have like an idea of kind of just the general layout and where everything might fit. But that's about as far as I do anymore.
Yeah.
When I was
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, when I was working on the Intuos and I was a lot less coordinated, when I was first starting out, everything was pencil and paper. Blue pencil paper, scan it in, and then draw over the top of it in the Intuos, and in Illustrator or whatever it is. But as I became more coordinated with the tablet, it slowly shifted to like, concepts on paper, and then taking it and then just doing an Illustrator to the point where it's just everything was at that time in Illustrator, but Manga Studio now.
This question probably doesn't pertain too much to what Evan and I do, but with the Minecraft stuff, Josh, do you have like little character templates that you use ever, like a certain pose that you use a lot, or of course, it's always sort of the sort of squared off things. I'm wondering if you have like a template character that you start off with, and then you sort of manipulate them as you go.
No, not really. Actually, I mean, not at all. I mean, there's stuff up here in terms of template where I sort of I may have go-to poses, or I might, okay, this is how that arm will look. It is tricky with Minecraft because it's so damn simple, which is it's squares, but it is difficult to create your own style and create a different feeling and dynamics and stuff like that. And you're looking at a lot of perspective. You're looking at a lot of 2-point perspective with head shapes and expressions and stuff like that. So I got expressions that I go to, and I got like sort of I know, okay, this is how I draw this expression. But in terms of like having a file where I open, paste it in, and then move it around, no, everything is always done from scratch. But
Could you even do
definitely
that?
Would I even do that?
Could
I
you
don't
even?
think so. Like, oh, I think if you really tried hard, maybe. But for me, it's just quicker to just because I like to try and keep every piece sort of personal and unique. It is difficult when you're doing these Bycraft icons, and every server like has a rank icon called Knight, or a rank icon called Baron, or something like that. So every time you got to try and draw a new Knight or something like that. So that is that is the tricky thing. Yeah.
I guess you could sort of twist the question a little bit to pertain to Evan and I, sort of as far as using wireframes or templates and stuff like that. I mean, I know for the most part, Evan, I don't know if you do this, but whenever there's sort of a layout change or template change on a social media site, you sort of develop a template to start out. Do you do that at all with any typical elements that you use at all? Like maybe social media type things, or common characters that you use, or anything like that.
To do what with them? To make them templatized?
Yeah, for like social media type work specifically. I may have phrased that horribly.
No, I mean I have. I guess not from client to client. Usually, no, not really. I mean, I have a general layout in mind, but like it's essentially just resizing, right? So I'll have, when I do something for a client, I'll work on like say a YouTube banner. I'll do it larger than it needs to be, but it's in proportion, so I can just kind of scale it down. Because if I need to take pieces out of there and put them on something larger than the YouTube banner, they'll be sized.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess this goes back to kind of it was just something that I can't remember why we got used to it, but we'd create, like, if we were doing especially something raster based or pixel based, we'd create it like the biggest we could do it at or like a fairly large size, so it can be scaled down to whatever. So I guess in not so much a template, but just when you create something, keeping it in the back of your mind that it can be that you're creating it big enough to be scaled to something else.
Do you ever run into any issues with losing detail whenever you design it at a larger resolution?
Losing detail? You mean when scaling downwards?
Yeah, when you scale it down, do you ever run into issues?
That's also kind of kept in mind too. So if I'm doing something that big, I'm not going to do an icon that's going to have more detail when I know it's always going to be an icon or something. So, or even a logo. Doing a logo at a larger size. Well, see, logos for me, they're all vector anyways.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of. I guess it's mainly it just mainly boils down to artwork. You don't want to do a piece of artwork that later you want to turn it into a T-shirt, and then you realize that you did it too small, right? You can't scale it up. So, yeah, that's just something that I guess you just kind of pick up as you go along. You keep, you identify what the usage or potential usage something could be for, and then you're just always keeping that in mind as you're creating it, to hopefully try to save you any headaches down the road.
Yeah. Yeah, you gotta kind of have that foresight whenever you're designing for multiple platforms.
Mm-hmm.
Is there?
Yeah, like, whenever I'm designing something, I'm always thinking of it. Well, what if it's going to be screen printed? Is my latest thing. So trying to keep like colors down, and trying not to get into any crazy like overly complicated halftones and stuff. That's what I've been doing lately.
Is there a particular type of work that you guys prefer to do over other types of work? Like for me, I'm really enjoying logo design right now. Is there something that you guys prefer to do over other things?
I guess it just depends on what I did before. Like I like to try and mix it up, I guess. So, but I mean, not really. Like I enjoy doing the Minecraft logos at the moment. They're always pretty fun to sort of concept up and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm sort of pretty open to a lot of things.
You recently transitioned to doing your own sort of fonts, Josh. Like whenever you're doing logo work and stuff like that, specifically T-shirt designs and things like that, you actually draw out the letters. I wouldn't really say it's like font creation because you're just doing the specific letters for the project, but it is sort of font creation. Whereas you're not using a font, you're creating your own.
Yeah, it's and that's just licensing a lot of
Yeah.
the time. Like if these guys are going to print the shirt or do merchandise with their logo, like I just want to make sure they don't get in trouble with copyright on fonts and stuff like that. So I think that's where a lot of that comes from. Does it take longer? Yeah, it does. But in the end, that's that's a little bit of flair that I like to add to it. So.
That's sort of a dangerous trend in the community, though, right? Using stock imagery and licensed fonts and things like that. People sort of they get pretty brave. Some of them using licensed fonts, especially.
Yep. Yeah,
Well, they're
absolutely.
licensed, correct?
Yeah, it's just like that GTA font and stuff. Like, there's some fonts that you see a lot, and you're like, oh, I don't. Yeah, I just try and stay away from it personally, just to keep my ass covered, but also the clients covered as well.
It's something that I touched on, and I do the thumbnail templates for people, and it's the main reason why I give them away for free instead of selling them is because I'll use the stock imagery from the game, but also specifically when I was doing the Watch Dogs template that I just did, I purposely sort of did my own font styles on it. So I used the base font and sort of recreated the Watch Dogs font because whenever I was doing my initial research, I actually found a font. Somebody had already developed a Watch Dogs font, and I knew that it was going to be absolutely everywhere. So I purposely did my own styling of a base font to avoid having the same font that everybody else is going to be using eventually.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense. I think it's a good thing as well. So.
Do you run into a lot of that sort of issues, Evan? I know you like to create all your stuff from scratch. You're not a big fan of stock imagery and things.
Yeah, that's just more from the experience side of things, I guess. Is well, I've always been like I never like lifting unless I'm just practicing, I never like using other people's stuff unless I have permission. I mean, I won't use other people's stuff unless I have permission. Um, and even down to when you get those free fonts off the web, a lot of them will say they're free for personal use but not commercial. So um, even then, people just, oh well, they're free. I can download them. They're free. Well, they're not. You got to look at the licensing there and make sure um, you're using it in a way that you have permission to. And in the past, I can see how that's easier for people to be a little more kind of lenient on it. But then after getting into all this stuff and trying my hand at creating fonts and trying my hand at um, creating a lot of this stuff that um, for years, like stock art that I've gone and used. Like there's the amount of time put behind a lot of that stuff is ridiculous. So I have a newfound respect for a lot of the other industries or the other types of, I guess, just design work that I've never had a chance to try out. Um, so yeah, nowadays when I go, like, say I'll come across a site where it's got like a donate button, donate what you want for this font or something. I'm usually I try to donate, at least what I think it's worth, even more, just because I know how much time they put into this stuff. Other designers and other um, photographers and typographers and everybody. Um, the equipment's not cheap, the software's not cheap, and time's not cheap. So
Yep.
Yeah, help out your fellow designer.
What do you guys think about graphics packs and stuff like that? It's a real popular thing to do. Do you guys think that those sort of elements are okay to use when you're doing client work?
No,
I've never downloaded one. I don't even know what one is, to be honest with you. I hear people talk about them a lot, but
so a lot of people have like specific styles and stuff like that they use, or little template sort of trick things, icons and stuff that they develop, and they like to give them out for subscriber markers.
Well, if they develop them, that's pretty cool. Like I guess it falls into the same category as when I release free fonts, but I've developed them. If it's a pack full of other people's stuff, that's like, unless you have permission, no, don't do that. It's not you could get in trouble for that is the reason why. And even um, if you get permission for it, there better be a text file in there that says where you got it and gives the proper credit back to where you got it, because it's so hard nowadays but when I've looked at some of these packs and seen stuff in there, it's like, come on, you're passing around someone else's hard work, and that's not cool. So I don't know. I'm all for it if it's all like original stuff, and there's a lot of stuff like that on the web. Like there's a photo pack that I've used forever that's just these really cool lens flares that somebody developed, and they gave permission to use it wherever you want. They don't care, but it's all 100% original created stuff. So I mean, you're if you're gonna pass around icons and stuff, just make your own. It's not super hard.
Yeah, just be real leery of that. If you're using someone's graphics pack to do client work, you better make sure that it's all created by them and that they've given you the freedom to use it,
or they have permission to redistribute it. Because there's a lot of things, like it's the same thing. Like I said earlier with fonts, I've seen a lot of these packs have a lot of fonts in them that you look at, like I've seen the font name, and I'll go do a search, and you know, where it shows up for free, it says don't redistribute. And it says for personal use only. You know, it's not.
Yeah.
Somebody put in a lot of time on that font or that photo or whatever it is. So come on, respect it. You know.
Yep.
It's not. If you want to do, there's no harm in sending people to where you got it. You know, but passing it off in a pack thing is just like, it's like the telephone game. It just starts. You know, you can't trace back whether or not you can actually use it. So
Yep.
yeah, just be careful. Be really careful. I've seen people get in big trouble for having stuff.
Yep.
I had a buddy that had a website that used a photo that he thought was okay, and then his website it wasn't like generating any big money or anything, and he got hit with a $3,000 copyright claim on it, and he had to pay it. You know, he didn't have the legal means um, to back himself up on it, or to get, you know, to at least get it knocked down or something. And yeah, he was out a lot of money. So
Yep. Gotta be real careful with that kind of stuff. But guys, I think that's a good place to wrap it up for this week. And definitely want to stress that interacting with us on our various social medias that we have available, Twitter and YouTube especially. Our Twitter is at Ctrl+Z Show. And we love to hear from you guys. Fan art's amazing so far. We love the questions that we've been getting on there and the support for the show. Our YouTube channel is brand new. It's just in its infancy right now. But that is youtube.com/Ctrl+Z-Cast. So definitely check that out, guys. And the growing support is what keeps the show going. It allows us to expand to other mediums and provide more ways for you guys to listen to the show. So definitely share it with anybody that you think would be interested, and just help us continue to grow the show. We're so appreciative of the support thus far, and we hope that it continues. Any additional comments?
No, I just second all that. Like, yeah, definitely. Yeah, any questions or whatever that you can throw at us, and we'll do what we can to answer it. These guys will probably have some more insight than I will, but I'll pretend to know what I'm talking about.
If you have any Minecraft questions, Josh will answer them.
Please don't. I gotta start doing more non-Minecraft work, so that's what I'll work on this week, I think.
cool. All right. Well, later on, guys.
All right. Peace.
All right. Catch ya.